Hello everybody, it's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I've got a really great card to share with you today and a fun technique. We're going to do a very simple masking technique. I loved this card, very soft, very simple to do because you know we only do simple around here. And look, we've even got some beautiful little sponging there on the inside as well. I say we get going with today's card, so let's go. Let me share the cardstock you need for today's card. I'm going to use soft sea foam as my card base. That is cut 11 inches by 4¼ inches, scored at 5½ inches. I have 2 pieces of gray granite cardstock. These are 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 inch. I have 2 pieces of Whisper White, and you can see they're going to layer in a nice tight fit. I've got 2 of those. My Whisper White pieces are 3 3/4 inch by 5 inches. Now, because we're going to be doing a masking technique today, we need some scratch paper. Guys, you can cut these any size. Basically, we just need them long enough, a little bit longer than the 5 inches that we have here on our Whisper White. Mine are just quarter sheets of copy paper, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But hey, this is a great use for some junk mail too. Let's use it up. But we're going to go ahead and bring that in. The star of today's show is going to be the Dandelion Wishes. I love this stamp set. It's very springy. We're going to begin with our copy paper. And what we want to do is we want to add some little dots of snail, which I kind of have already done on some of these, just some little dots of snail down one side. Now, that is super sticky, and I don't want it that sticky. I'm actually going to tap it here on my sleeve. That's going to put a little bit of lint on it and make it not quite so sticky, and that's going to work great for me. I'm going to place my cardstock here on my grid paper. There's my sticky, and I'm going to line this up. This is how I'm making sure I'm lining this up straight. So it's wherever it kind of makes you happy. I want to leave maybe about 1/2 inch, okay? And I'm going to just bring, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to use that grid line. I'm lined up straight here, so that is ensuring that I have that paper centered, that little strip. So that's where ink will not go. Let's flip it around, and we're going to reverse that. I've de-stickified this end, and as far as how much space to leave in between, there's really no right or wrong. I'm going to go about 2 inches. So you can see I'm on a 1 inch line here. I'm coming over 2. But I just want to make sure everything is good and straight. All right, I have that all ready to go. So here's my little 1/2 inch section. I think you can see that's my smaller. That, of course, is I want to my right. Now, I'm going to start with a soft seafoam ink pad and a sponge dauber. One trick with this is I'm going to just gently ink that up. But I got to tell you, I got to get some of that ink off. It's a little dark and a little strong. And sometimes when you make these swirly marks, we don't want it to be too strong. So like I said, ink it up, dab it off, and we're going to go about 1/3 of the way down our cardstock. I'm going to start at the bottom, and you notice I'm just swirling. Just swirl, swirl, swirl. We're now going to come in with the balmy blue ink pad. And just like we did, let's ink up a different sponge dauber. This is my blue one. I'm going to rub off some of the excess. I'm starting at the top, just like I did before. And guys, start with just a very light touch when you do this technique. Very light touch until you kind of get the hang of it. Swirl, 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 and just keep going until you get down to the bottom. Guys, less is always more, okay? I can always add more ink, but I can't take it away. So when you first start sponging it on, use a lighter touch as that ink tends to disappear and attach to the card. You can get a little bit firmer with how hard you push. But one thing we don't want is that, okay? We want to avoid, using a really hard press. So keep it very light. There we go. Can you see? It almost looks like clouds, doesn't it? We can now remove our mask. Now you see why we wanted to de-stickify it. There we go. That is the first part of our image. Now we're going to come in with our stamp. And I'm going to use the Smoky Slate ink pad. And what I want to do with this, you notice I'm going to hang off of the image, all right? I kind of like that look, that I'm not staying within the confines of that. Do you see how nice that looks? In Smoky Slate, I'm going to stamp my sentiment up here in the upper left corner. There we go. Looks great. I'm going to set this off to the side so that I can work on the inside of my card. I've inked up that stamp again in the Smoky Slate, and I'm going to take it off the side of my card. And that same technique I used where I kind of rub some of that ink off, I'm going to do that same little technique here. No masking this time. I'm just going to kind of keep it over to the side. Now in with that balmy blue, and I'll just swirl, just basically just kind of giving it a really light, just a nice little border over here. There we go. That looks really nice. All right, it's time to put our card together. I've added snail. This is for the inside of my card. Let's just center it up there on the inside. So plenty of room to write my message, room right here for my signature. Now for my front focal image, I'm going to adhere it onto the remaining piece there of the Smoky Slate, but I wanted to add a little bit of twine. And I'm going to add a little twine bow actually. So I'm going to take a mini glue dot and I'm just going to kind of roll it into a little tiny ball. This, we're going to put it right here in the corner, not all the way down in the corner, just kind of to kind of fill in that space. Now, to attach this to my card, I want to do that with dimensionals. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Stampin' Dimensionals on a card. It's a very inexpensive adhesive, but it turns any ordinary card into a wow card. We're going to remove these paper backings. And now I can add that to the front of my card. Can you see how that dimension really makes a difference? There we go. Our inside is nice and soft and pretty. Our outside is pretty as well. I love that I have a wonderful little Get Well card ready to go. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed today's card, and I hope you learned a new technique with that masking. Very fun and easy to do. I gotta tell you, I think what I loved most was how the soft seafoam and the balmy blue blended so nicely together. Right there in the middle, they could just kind of just blend right together. Very, very pretty. Now, listen, if you want to see more details about today's card, you want to see the photographs, maybe you need to grab the measurements, or you'd like to order the supplies that I use to create the card, here's what you can do. Head over to simplysimplestamping.com and just look for the May 9th, 2019 blog post. I'll have all the details for you there. And like I said, if you need to order any of the supplies, just look for the pictures of the supply list, click a pic. It's going to take you right to my online store. You can order what you need right there. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the card today. If you did, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up there on YouTube. I always appreciate it. It helps me to know what you like and what you want to see more of. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? It's a good time to do it. There's a great big red subscribe button. You can't miss it. It's free. Why not subscribe and get notifications whenever I'm back with a new video? All right, my friends, that's all for me today. Go create something amazing, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.